What's up guys, welcome back to our channel. Hi, hello, how are you? How's your day going? You good? You look good, you smell good, so I think you're doing really well. If this is your first time finding our channel, hello, my name is Jess. Have I ever said my name? I don't think, my name's Jess, by the way. And our channel is about myself and my wee family, my soon-to-be husband and our daughter Remington, who is 3. And we're traveling the world for up to 12 months, so full-time, long-term travel with the toddler. So if you're into travel videos or parenting videos or lifestyle videos, you could subscribe. I'll give you a second to do it. You wanna do it? Did you do it? Thank you. That's stop it. Thank you. All right, today's video is our Cusco travel guide. Am I in Cusco right now? I'm not in Cusco, I'm in Croatia. It took me that long to do it. Procrastination station. Well, yeah, listen, I've had too much coffee. Right, tip number 1, and that is how to get to Cusco. So there's a few ways that you can do it. You can start in Lima, which is right down at the bottom of the coast. I believe it's the capital, I should be correct on that, I think. Capital of Peru. So you can start down at the coast and you've got a few options on how you want to get to Cusco. So your first option would be to fly. So you can fly directly from Lima to Cusco. You can bus directly from Lima to Cusco, or alternatively, you could, if you had the time to do it, you could go from Lima to somewhere like Arequipa or Huacachina, and then from there go on to Cusco. Now there's pros and cons to each solution, obviously. Starting with flying. So if you fly from Lima to Cusco, your pros, it's very fast and it's very comfortable. So you're saving time, probably saving some money. Nice and quick for you to get up to Cusco. So if you're short on time and you just want to get there and enjoy your holiday, this could be a good option. Your cons with that is that means that you are ascending extremely quickly. Within a few hours, you are from sea level to 3,400 meters above sea level. Problem with this is this could increase your chances of experiencing AMS or acute mountain sickness. So might not be the best option if you've got the time to avoid it, but if you don't have the time, that is one option for you. A second option for you is to take a bus. So you can bus directly from Lima to Cusco. They say it takes 20 hours. They're lying. It doesn't take 20 hours. For us, it took about 26 hours. It's very uncomfortable. It's very hot. It's very unrecommendable. Is that a word? I wouldn't recommend it. I'll tell you a horror story in a minute about that. But for us, we just thought, okay, it's the cheapest option that there is. You can get there pretty cheaply, and we just figured it's fine. It's just 20 hours. What doesn't matter. And the pros to this, like I said, it is slightly cheaper. And the other pro is because you're ascending just a little bit slower, maybe your chances of AMS are a little bit less, but you're still ascending pretty quickly within a 24-hour time frame, which is not hugely recommended. But it was a little bit slower, so whether that helped us or not, I'm not sure. Third option, if you have the time and you have the resources to do it, take your time getting from Lima to Cusco. Huacachina looks incredible. If you haven't looked it up, Google it now. It's like in the middle of a desert by the looks of it. Like it's just this beautiful oasis surrounded by sand dunes. Like it looks incredible. And if you're in for an adventure, they've got a lot of like adventure type things you can do there. So Huacachina looks amazing. Arequipa looks beautiful. So those are some options for you. Pros, obviously, it's going to really decrease your chance of AMS. You're getting to see more of Peru, which is super exciting. Cons, obviously, this is more time and more money. So whatever kind of fits within your realm of your holiday, those are your options. Our horror story though, and why I will not recommend buses, because oh my God, this is a horror story. So we took a bus from Lima to Cusco. And like I said, it took 26 hours. Now the buses there, they're very cramped, they're very warm. For some reason, the bus drivers don't like to turn on the aircon, so you're very hot on these buses, and the roads are extremely, extremely windy. It's lots of twists and turns. And for someone like myself who suffers from motion sickness, this was pretty rough. But our daughter Remington, who's never suffered from motion sickness before, really struggled. And we think that is because of the altitude. As you're gaining altitude, we think that she just felt unwell. So, picture this. We're on a hot, cramped bus. right? And our daughter starts to tell us that her tummy is feeling a little bit sore. Now we assumed that maybe she just needed to go to the bathroom to go number 2, because that's usually what it means when she tells us she's got a bit of a sore tummy. So we take her to the bathroom, she tries, she couldn't go, that's fine, she comes back and she sits down. Mind you, she's sitting on my lap, by the way. In Peru, we didn't need to buy her a seat, she could just sit on our lap and that was fine. So I'm having a chat with her and she's sitting on my lap and she kind of stops talking and kind of looks at me a little bit funny for a second. And I knew immediately what was coming, but I just did not have time to react. And this kid just exorcist vomits all over me twice. I'm talking like tits to toes. I am covered in vomit and it's hot and it stinks and I'm drenched in it and she's drenched in it. Husband's fine. He's got nothing on him. He's just looking in disbelief. And I'm like, shit. All of our clothes and everything that we need is under the bus. And I'm sitting here covered in vomit, 5 hours in to a very long bus ride. So I had to strip in this bus, take off as many layers as I could. Luckily, my husband had a spare pair of pants. I put his pants on. I just had to sit there in a sports bra. Luckily, I had a sports bra, not a regular bra. And our daughter, we just stripped her to her underwear and wrapped her in a blanket. And that was that. And that's how the trip started for us. And not only that, actually, another twist to this story is near the end, like the bus drivers that we had were like kind of crazy, especially on the corners. Like there was multiple times we were like, damn, these bus drivers like don't care if we live or die on this trip. And sure enough, kind of like the last 3 hours of the trip, we get into an accident with a truck on the motorway. They just collide. Didn't know kind of what happened per se, but I'm going to say because of the way the bus drivers were driving, it was hella on the bus drivers. So that was a lot. So if you can avoid it, don't bus from Lima to Cusco. It's gnarly. Wouldn't suggest it. Moving on to tip 2. What is altitude sickness and how do you avoid it if you can? What are the symptoms? How do you deal with it? What's that whole situation look like? What does it look like for a toddler if you're a mum taking your child to Cusco? Let's get into it. So, altitude sickness or AMS, altitude mountain sickness? Jessica. Yeah, that is the most common thing that will happen if you are going to go above, I think, 2,500 meters. So symptoms of that look like headaches. It looks like restlessness, it looks like not being able to sleep, maybe a loss of appetite, and struggling to breathe. Very normal. If you're not used to these altitudes and you're going straight up there, it will feel like you're breathing through a straw when you're like trying to go up a hill. If you're going up even a slight incline, not even this incline, like this incline, it's tough. So when you first arrive, if you're experiencing these symptoms, don't panic. This is pretty normal and they should decrease within a couple of days. Symptoms to look out for that aren't so normal and could be a sign of something more serious or leading to HAPE or HACE, which is high altitude pulmonary edema or high altitude cerebral edema, are things such as tightness and pain in your chest, a cough that's quite persistent but not productive, like you're not coughing anything up, it's just sitting there. Bluish tint to your skin or your lips is a big one. Breathlessness at rest is a huge red flag, especially if it's prolonged. So AMS is going to show up pretty much immediately. It'll be like I found as soon as I got off the bus, I was like, damn, I can't breathe, and the headache was real. HAPE and HACE, they will kick in about 2 to 4 days later. So the best thing to do is just be mindful of how you're feeling, just be aware of it. If you do start to notice some of those more serious symptoms, the best thing that you can do is just descend. Head back down to Arequipa or Huacachina. You could also seek medical advice and they can do what they can to treat you. But from what I've read from my Google searching, if you descend, the symptoms will decrease. In our toddler, we noticed that she was just a little fussy. I think she might have had a headache and she wasn't sleeping the best, but other than that, she was perfectly perky. She was running around, she wasn't short on breath, so we were quite happy and comfortable and confident that our toddler was handling the altitude just fine. So what can you do within your first 48 hours just to make sure that your body eases in and you're happy? The best thing to do, honestly, when you get there, if you have the time and you can do this, is rest. Just give your body a chance to acclimatize. 48 hours is a really good period of time to just try and do as little as possible. Maybe do some light sightseeing. Cusco's main square, the Plaza de Armas, is quite flat. So if you come down into it and you just wander around, that's quite easy and that's quite nice. I would highly suggest that you do not book anything within those first 2 days, especially not Rainbow Mountain, especially not Humantai, because both of those are extremely high altitude, about 5,000 meters above sea level. You're just not going to have a very good time because you haven't given yourself a real chance to acclimatize to that lower oxygen level. So that would be my advice. Rest for a good 48 hours and then start to plan the rest of your trip. Right, moving on to tip 3, and that is about Coca Leaves. So I'm sure if you've done any research on going to Cusco or Rainbow Mountain or anywhere like that, you have read about Coca Leaves. Everyone knows that Coca Leaves are what is suggested to help combat some of the altitude sickness, and it can come in different forms. Obviously there is the leaves themselves, which are great. We found when we got to our Airbnb, we had like a tea jar full of Coca Leaves, and you can either brew a tea with them. I think the host recommended like 5 to 7 leaves in the tea. Can be given to toddlers too, not that she drank it because she hated it. Or you can chew on the coca leaf if you'd like to. Or the other option that we found was really beneficial, particularly having a toddler, was to get Coca gummies. And you can get those from any dairies, mini markets, supermarkets. They all sell the Coca lollies. So we found that that was much more helpful for our toddler. We did speak to some locals and they said that the Coca gummies were perfectly safe for our daughter to digest. So we did give her half of a Coca lolly for the first couple of days we were there, just to make sure that she felt okay, and then we gave her half when we went and did things like Rainbow Mountain, so that she wouldn't suffer from any adverse symptoms, or they would help to just decrease a little bit. Alright, on the note of activities, that brings me to tip number 4, and that is to book your activities quite well in advance, especially things like Machu Picchu. They really do sell out very fast, and it can be hard to get a booking if you arrive and then try to book within, like, say, a week. So for us, we booked Humantai Lake, we booked Rainbow Mountain, and we booked Machu Picchu about 3 weeks prior to arrival, and that was perfectly fine. Tip number 5, the food, guys. The food in Peru, oh my word. Oh my word, my favorite traditional meal that I tried, I'm gonna butcher this probably, but I think it's called lomo saltado. I'll put the video in. It's so beautiful. Really take the time to try and explore the traditional food in Peru. It's extremely affordable is the other thing. Like a really expensive restaurant in Peru is like a normal restaurant from New Zealand. Like the prices are extremely fair. The food is absolutely delicious. Whether you're trying traditional food or regular food, you can't go wrong. Number 6, speaking of affordable, cash or card in Cusco? It's a good question. So we found that for the most part, most vendors in Cusco did take card. It was pretty normal. Even street vendors, or the people that were selling art or selling other kinds of things, the people that walk around with the baby lambs who want to get a photo with you, they actually have ability on their phone to take your card payment. So a lot of people did take card. We only found an issue kind of outside of Cusco. So when we went and did our when we did our excursions, we did find that vendors didn't take cash at all. So you do need to have some cash on you. It is recommended. You do need coins for the bathroom. Just to note, you do need coins. So we were finding it was about 1 to 2 sol to use the bathrooms, and someone's just standing at the front. You give them the money and they give you the toilet paper. And we found this with public bathrooms in the bus stations, that kind of thing. Tip 7, one that I didn't know because I hadn't heard anyone say this, but you should know, you can't flush toilet paper in Cusco. You need to throw the toilet paper into the rubbish bin. Can't be flushed, it will block their system. So make sure that when you arrive in Cusco, if you're used to flushing your toilet paper, don't do that. Just pop it in the rubbish bin that's next to you. On the note of water, you can't drink the tap water in Cusco either. So don't make that mistake. You could end up with a pretty sore tummy. All right, tip 8. I'm sorry, this is such a long video. There's just so much to say. Peru in general, Peru was high on my list. I was really, really excited to go. And the reason being is from everything that I had seen, particularly footage of Cusco, is that it was just so vibrant and cultural and fun, and it didn't disappoint. Like when we were there, it was in February, and they have February Carnival. And so every Sunday in February, and we didn't know this at the time before we Googled it, but if you go out on a Sunday, the entire town, and I'm talking everybody, is invested in a water fight. It is the most crazy, coolest thing I've ever seen. So everyone walks around with water balloons and water guns and foam cans. And if you're a tourist or not, they're gonna involve you. They want you to play. It's this big celebration, and it's about embracing like the fun of it, right? So everyone's throwing water at each other, throwing buckets of water at each other. Everyone's drenched, everyone's covered in foam, and it's a big thing. Like if you're not aware of it, it can be a little bit like, whoa, what is happening? Am I gonna get soaked? Just embrace it. It's really fun. The other thing we noticed as well, other than just like, I loved just the vibrancy in Cusco, the vibrancy of the people, the warmth of the people in like Peruvians in general, stunning people, really, truly. We were lucky enough to go, I think it was Valentine's Day, that might have been the reason, but there was this beautiful parade in the Plaza del Armas, and everyone was dressed in their traditional clothing, and they were dancing and they were singing, and there was music, and they were involving the tourists as well, so everyone was involved, and it's just such a happy, warm place. I really think it needs to be high on your list. Like if you've even had a smidge of an inkling that you want to go to Cusco, do it. Don't worry about how much it costs. Memories will overrule that, right? Like it's just beautiful. Chef's kiss. What a place. I will be going back one day. Tip 9. If you have a toddler with you, we found that we couldn't find playgrounds. And I'm not sure if that's just because we weren't looking in the right places. We did do quite a bit of exploring throughout Cusco. We couldn't find actual playgrounds or parks. So we did have to find other ways to entertain our daughter Remington. A lot of that was just climbing on stairs and looking at the baby lambs and the alpacas and all that kind of stuff. So just if you're a mum or a dad and you're taking your toddler or your child to Cusco, there isn't any playgrounds that we could find. You might be able to find some, but just a heads up, just in case, you may have to find other ways to entertain your child. And tip number 10, I hope I've got that right, it's really hard to keep up with my tips, is our accommodation recommendation in Cusco. So we stayed in the most incredible Airbnb, and the hosts, that's a family, beautiful people. They're just so warm and welcoming, and we felt right at home in this Airbnb. So the Airbnb is Casa Agustina, and it comes with beautiful rooms and breakfast included, and the breakfast was extremely generous. Pilar, the host, the owner, she cooks for you, and she doesn't speak any English, but her daughters do, so if you can't speak Spanish, then you're fine, you can talk English as well. But they're the most beautiful people, so I'm going to link their Airbnb down in the description box. It's right next to the Plaza del Armas, like a 6-minute walk at absolute most. It's flat as well, so to get to your accommodation, you're nice and flat, so you're not going to have to hike up any hills. Bonus tip, actually, this is real quick bonus tip, tip 11. Alcohol in Peru. So we went out for a couple of cocktails on our anniversary, and in my mind I was like, maybe it's because we're high altitude, like the alcohol feels really strong, and I only had 2 cocktails, but I googled it and apparently that's not the case at all. Altitude doesn't affect alcohol in your system. So my understanding is that Peruvians just want to have a good time, and they pour some strong drinks, like really strong. Pisco sours are their traditional cocktail, which is beautiful. It's like a really nice, like margarita taste, like really beautiful. But I was on my butt. I had 2 cocktails, 2, and I was like, I could go to sleep. I'm drunk, right? And it's daytime. It was very unusual for me. Anyways, that is it from me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and like I said, hopefully you've subscribed if you like travel videos and parenting videos and lifestyle videos, all that fun stuff. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. 29 and I find myself wondering, what did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turned